All right. So this next little bit, not sure I appreciated what they did as far as trying to, help us understand what's going on. So we have done at this point, and by the way, I did not label these properly. I didn't have the right text on these things, so I fixed that while I was out. But when we look at number 6, 7, 8, and 9, it's constantly referencing a page of code, and the page of code has got a lot more going on than just what they're actually referencing. So I'm going to do my best to sort of try and kind of communicate what's going on, but it gets a little hairy. So first of all, let's go to the customer form. The customer form currently actually doesn't really have any events handlers, or at least not that many. If I actually right click on this and I click on the view code, you'll see it really just has like nothing but like the default initialize component. So the first thing it says is generate the event handlers for the load event of the customer form. Well, we can do that pretty easily actually just by clicking on it, and that actually now has just generated the load event. It then says for the do the same thing for the closing event of the form and the click event of all 3 buttons. Well, the click event of all 3 buttons is pretty easy. You just double click there, that's 1. You double click there, that's 2. Paying attention to what they're called, double click 3, that's 3. How in the world, though, do you get to do a closing event of the form? And what you do is you go down, remember down in your properties, this is usually set to properties, but if you click on the events, you'll see that in here, there are a bunch of different events I could click on, and I create basically an empty event. Now, of course, it's not called close. It's not the closing event here. It's actually called, oh, come on. Data bindings. Maybe it's not data bindings. No. I knew what it was. It was form closing or something like that. Oh, is it because they're not in the right spot? Make sure you got your form actually selected for this. And there's form closed, form closing. So if I go to form closing and I just basically double click, now I got myself customer form closing. So I got myself the event there. All right. So it says then add the global is saved variable and add that code for all of the events. What we're trying to do is add this idea that if you want to leave the form and there's data that's not saved, it's going to stop us. That's what we're trying to do. But let's get there. So we're in the code section already. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add myself a nice little variable, which is going to be called what is. So it's a Boolean, so BOOL, and it's going to be is data saved. And I think most of you would have found this without a problem. So is data saved? And personally, what I would do is I would set that to false, because I then want to make sure that when they click the save button, it maybe saves it or whatever. But as in a minute, they're going to say, add the code for these events as shown in 1017. 1017's got a lot more going on in there than just this. But anyway, I'm going to basically, it says here to initialize it to true. So that's what I'm doing. All right, good deal. So I got that. And so now if I go back to the spirit of what's going on in that particular question, it says add the global variable and then add the code for these events as shown in 1017. I'm going to start looking down these just for these events on page on 1017 and see which events are actually dealing with the is not as is data saved, right? So I look first of all at the load, and the load doesn't have anything to do with that. So then I look at the next one, and it looks like it's if the text is changed, I don't even have that event, so I'm going to keep moving on. There's one about CBO, so the combo box, and I don't have that, so I haven't been asked to do that yet, so I'm going to stay away. Select index change, again, I haven't done anything with that, so I'm going to keep going. Select payment, I haven't done anything with that. button, click saved. Well, that I do have right there. Yeah, button, yeah, click, but nothing in there has to do with the data is the save thing. So I guess it's not that. And then as I keep going, there's an exit, which doesn't have anything to do with it. And then there's a form closing. And the form closing actually does seem to care about the data is saved. Because it's basically saying if it's not saved, then do some stuff. So when I'm looking at that particular dialogue, it's not, we can't quite do that dialogue yet because we don't have the dependent code, which I know you can just take my word for it, but we don't have that. So let's see, what can we do here? There's like a string, there's a dialog box. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You know, again, just reading a little bit ahead. It says generate event handlers for the select index changed event for the customer name combo and the text changed event for the payment method. Then add the code for these so that they set the variable to false. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this is it. Maybe we were just supposed to put that thing at the top, because then it's going to go on to say the event handler event should the event handler for the saved index changed event should also clear the method. All right, so you know, I think honestly, I may as well just go for broke here and just start typing some of the stuff in, because this is it for this particular application. So I may as well just type it in. So I'll tell you what, let me try and explain as I'm going what I'm actually doing. So all right, so we got the load. I'm going to look at the load first, and I wish I could show you the code. I don't think all that code is sitting in here, or if it is, it's spread out. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Excuse me. These were all the properties that just changed. I just assumed it was further up in the slides because it was right at the beginning of the book. But all right, so you know what? That's okay then. So we can actually talk about this code right there. So what I'm about to do is that's what I just did. I added that Boolean is true. Now we're going to basically change the load. So let's talk about what the load is doing, because I guess they're not going to bother explaining that to us in the assignment, but we can do it here. So remember, when this thing first loads up, what is it going to do? Well, it's going to go to CBO names. I don't have a CBS. That's why CBO names dot items dot add. So it's almost like a list, right? And now it's going to basically add the name Mike Smith. Cool. I'm going to go semicolon. I'm going to go CBO names items. Oh boy. Names again. Names, items, add, and we're going to add another person, Nancy Jones. All right. So let's just run this, see what happens, right? So I'm going to, oh, it's customer. Yeah, customer. No, it's the payment. You know, we probably won't be able to see the payment. Yep, we're not going to CPO, by the way. We're not going to see payment because the thing wants to run the customer form first. All right, so that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's great. Wonderful. Let's just keep going. Then it says, hey, look, here's the payment changed. Payment text changed. So where would that have been? Let's go back over to here, and payment method, that's probably in here maybe. And I'm looking for what? Looking for change that we just said here. Text changed event in the payment method. So going to go down, look for text. And oh, yeah, text change. So I'm going to double click on that. And so this is the label payment text change, which matches very nicely to the actual slide over here. So at this point, if the text has been changed, we probably want to indicate that this is now false. So if the text has been changed, we're going to basically say, whoa, 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 just, you know, the data saved isn't true. It is now false. Let me just make sure. Yep, so there's that guy. That guy's done. Going on to the next slide. The next slide is about the CBO names indexed has changed. All right, so is that up here? I don't think so. The CBO combo box select index has changed. So I'm thinking now for in here, and we click on that, and we look at the select index change. Is that in here at all? Just as it is. So I don't see that. And then if I go up here to index, I don't see that. I'm in the right form, right? No, I'm not. No, it's customer. I want to be this guy. I've now just confused myself. No, this is going to be the customer form, Grant. Okay, so generate the event handlers for the select index change event of the customer name combo box. So I was in the right spot. Let's go over here. Right here. This is the combo box, Grant. Oh, boom. Okay, good. Oh, and look at that. It brought me right there. So double click. So there's my selected index change. So at this point now, the person on the form has changed the customer. So again, is data saved is now going to be assigned false because they just made a change and we haven't saved it. And then for whatever reason, they want the payment text be nulled out. Why would they want that? Well, let's have a look and see if I can figure that out. I guess if you're changing your customer, you probably want that to be blanked out. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. All right, so back over to here. Oh, by the way, if this is all customer stuff, I should be able to run it then because the customer is the one that shows up first. So let's do this. And let's do this. So those are the two people that I picked. That's kind of awesome. All right, or created. So good for me. Cool, and that solves that. So now we get this next one, and I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this guy here. What happens if they select the payment? So this will be interesting because what's going to happen, actually, let's just look at the code. When we click on select payment, it's going to want to open the payment screen, this one, okay? That means it's got to basically create a new form and then do a bunch of this stuff, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So I don't think I'm going to talk about that code yet. And we're not ready, I don't think, to deal with this code yet. Save data. I think we can deal with that code and the Boolean. But yeah, I think we can do these two pieces of code. So let's leave the hooking of the two forms together for a second and go and just deal with this. So select items change. I think I just did that one, right? So did I just do that one? Let's go back over to here and look. It's lost track of where I am. So select index change, right? So I'm not going to do the button click, and I'm not going to do the save button click. I'm going to do save data though. No, I'm not going to do that one because we don't know what that one is yet. Is validated? Nope. So let's keep going on our little clicks. So we got the exit button. The exit button, we need to do that one. So we double click on there. I think that one's already been created. This one's a straight, easy close. So this dot close, this dot close. So that'll enable that button. And then, however, when it's closing, it's going to be wanting to check some stuff too. And so let's say when it's closing, this is form closing right here. We're going to basically say if, all right, So if the is data saved, so if this is actually not true, so they haven't saved their data, for goodness sakes, help us out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put together a nice little message that we're going to use our buddy, the combo box, for. It's going to basically say, this form contains unsaved data. I'm going to put exclamation points in there because I'm a millennial. I'm going to go /n/n. And then, oh my goodness, by the way, message spelled wrong too. Just for ease of reading, I'm going to go plus and then add another line underneath. That's kind of why you see them do this periodically in the slides or the book. Do you want to save it? So there's my message. And now we're going to be using a special kind of message box. So it's not just going to be an okay, because so far we've had message boxes that have just been okay. We're going to create a variable called dialogue result. It's just a button. And what is this button going to be holding on to? It's going to hold on to our message box. We're going to pass in the message that we just created. The message box is going to be called customer. Now this on its own would just give us a pop-up with an okay, but there's more to this we can add now. We can add the message box buttons object, yes, no, or cancel. So now we're going to get a yes, no, or cancel. Those are going to be the buttons. And then we want an icon on this one, because so far they've been kind of boring. Box icons. And this one, we're going to use the warning. All right. Now let me scroll one little bit down to make sure there's probably, yep, there's a little bit more. Just a little bit more now, because we've got ourselves the button. What is your problem? Message box. Oh, did I? No, I did not. I did not. Did I do that same thing? I did. I forgot the whole show thing. Unbelievable. .show. Oh, all right. So message box show. Now that all that's going to happen there is we're going to get a pop-up. So I tell you what, let's just run this, because we just added a crap ton of code here, and so I got this thing. I'm going to go that, and we're going to go exit. It's got unsaved data. Do you want to save it? So that's coming from the message. The yes, no, cancel is coming from this property. This icon here is coming from warning. And it doesn't really matter what I say at this point. It's just now going to exit. All right, good deal. So now we go on to the next thing. We've stored our information into a button. We know what the button, what button they actually typed. And so now what I'm going to say is, if the button was dialogue, so if the result was yes. Long time ago in this course, when we were young and fresh, oh, I can't remember the name of it now. There was some fancy name for this where the variable names were actually effectively, oh, it was like enumeration, I think. Anyway, so this is basically saying if the button, if it was yes, then. Now here, we're not quite ready to deal with what we're going to do with that. So at this point, if it's yes, honestly, I'm just going to right now throw in a quick message box, and then I'm going to go back and get rid of it. So message box. Oh, come on. Oh, help me out here. Message box. I'm just going to basically say, cool. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't care about this. I'm coming back to that. And you know, because I'm coming back to that, to do. All right. So anyway, but here's another thing. If the button is cancel, So if they're not actually wanting to save the data, then it's got E cancel is assigned true. Now, I got to admit, what is the E for? And again, Grant, way to go with your show. Let's get that done. Well, you know what? I don't know. Let's run it. All right, I'm going to change to be Mike. I'm going to exit. I'm going to go yes, save it, which my code should get a little pop-up going cool. And then it's out. And then let's see what happens if I click on the cancel. So we're going to go yes, sorry, exit, cancel. You just go back. Okay, so let's go exit, no, and the whole thing shuts down. That's pretty slick. That's actually pretty slick. All right. Okay, so now we kind of got to the end of that code, but now let's actually go and do some of that stuff properly, because now the next thing we're supposed to do is put in the code. Number 8 is save data and is data valid. And remember, now we're also hooking it to the actual payment form too. So all sorts of fun going on here. So let's go back up. I believe we were just fine with this part. Where it started to get a little bit hairy was when actually someone clicked on the select payment. Because what's supposed to happen here is that when they open this thing up and they select payment, that's supposed to go to the payment form. That's what's supposed to happen. And the payment form, I'll remind you, looks something like that. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to go to the event, and there I am at the event. And so in this event, well, actually, you know what? Before I do that, I can leave that as empty for a second. Let me just give me a second here. Validate and save. Let's make ourselves the saved data and the is data valid. I think we can do that without hooking it to the payment form, and that'll just make things easier. So honestly, I'm just looking at this code. I'm going to put it in, but the saved data, it's going to basically set the index of the combo box back to basically nothing, right? So our customer, it's not going to assume it's the same customer. It's going to payment, it's going to null the payment text. It's going to say that the data has been saved, and it's going to put the focus back on the customer list. So that's what it's going to do. So let me get this in. Almost time, by the way, fighting with my hard drive to make sure I don't run out of space, but here we go. So CBO names dot select index is assigned -1. Awesome. And I'll set it back up to the top. The list box payment text, which we haven't done anything with yet, is going to be set to null, which it currently already is. The is data saved Boolean is going to be now true. And then we're going to put the focus back on the CBO names. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. Focus. Okay, we're going to do that. Let's test that out. Why are you mad? You're mad because there's no equals in there. All right, let's go. And so we can test some of the stuff out right now. If I was to basically say Mike Smith and I was going to go exit, whoa, yeah, but are you sure? So I'm going to go, no, cancel. Awesome. But now I'm going to go save. And now if I go exit, it didn't save it. I didn't put the code in the right. I didn't put the code in the right handler. All right. That's fine. That's fine, Grant. For a minute, I thought I lost my mind. There it is. It's a handler. It's not a handler. It's an event. But anyway, let's try that again. Let's pretend that we've been developing for 40 years. All right. So up we go. We're going to change this thing to Mary. We're going to go exit. No. Okay. We go save. And see, it cleared it out, which is what we were expecting.